everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. This is Aura Ritual and Practice, the podcast, and I'm your host, Rara. So today I have, coming back on the show is Angelica, another Reiki Master from the Aura Ritual and Practice office, and it's her birthday. So happy birthday.
Thank you. This is special.
Birthday.
It's an honor to be in this space.
Yes.
Oh, my
y'all.
goodness.
We're happy to have you. And we also have our special guest today, Miss Noah.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Also
Thank
known
you.
as the Black Cauldron, right?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. I think it's going to be a really cool conversation. Already tuned into it last night beyond my wanting. But so that's how I know it's going to be a cool conversation.
Okay, good.
Energy is great already.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be a really cool convo for everyone to hear because you're going to be studying Reiki. Or did you start already?
I started.
Okay.
And my attunement, I'm saying that right?
Attunement.
It's on the 27th.
Wow.
I'm
And you're
kinda
doing it
nervous.
online.
I'm doing it online.
Okay.
Which I wish I would have known that this was a thing that I could go in and learn. I didn't even think of it. I was just like, this is something that I want to do. I want to offer it as a service. And I just went for it. But
Yeah.
I'm super excited. I'm a little nervous to study or practice it because I didn't know that I knew so many practitioners.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't really know what to expect, like how to separate your energy from the energy of your client and all that good stuff. So,
Well, I mean, that's what we'll talk about today, right?
Yes.
So we have Angelica, myself, who are Reiki practitioners, masters, been practicing for different years already. And I love conversations like this.
Yes.
I truly believe that I teach differently. Fill in the gaps a lot to what people are actually looking for when it comes to practicing Reiki because, I mean, you're going to understand it. I mean, if you already have, you're going to go into class, learn the basics of Reiki, and then so be it, right?
Yes.
And it's like, but what's happening when you're a lot more aware with your senses? How do you do it? How do you navigate it?
Yeah.
Who can I ask these questions?
Yep.
And a lot of times our own masters are different from ourselves, and it's kind of tough.
yeah, for sure. And knowing how, like, I went on YouTube University, of course, that's where we all learn stuff, right? And I noticed that every Reiki practitioner does it different. It's not cookie cutter, which I love. In my practices, we have our own version of what kind of like a Reiki thing, but we call it laying hands. And our elders do it to pull energy, to pray over us. And it's very, very similar to Reiki. So I wanted to incorporate, I want to be authentically Noah whenever I'm doing this. And I'm just like so excited to be here and kind of pick your brain and learn, you know?
Yes, I thought it'd be great to have Angelica back online as well, like together with us, so that you have the many versions of perspectives that you can, right? Because every practitioner is different.
Yes.
So before we get into what your background is, let's just talk about how would you define your Reiki? So like define yourself. Like my little spiel is, okay, I'm a psychic medium and a channeler, but I'm a multidimensional healer.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like the words, I guess you could say to connect to what we do. But it's really beyond all of that. To me, channeler is like the best form of what you can really categorize me as if you want to put me in a bucket, because it's just like everything's changing channels. So how would you define what you do as a Reiki practitioner?
So, I mean, I would say a multi-dimensional healer as well, but I actually like to work with a lot of sound. So I'll call myself a sound healer, like chants or even sound bowls and things like that. And even to the depths of what you can actually see, Rara can actually see like spirits and she can see angels and things like that. I more so see orbs of light and I'll feel present. So even just picking things up is different.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. It's like all baddest Reiki healers, they have these different senses. And recently I think I'm maybe a little clairaudient and I'm just like picking up on it. I do tarot readings and it's sometimes just overwhelming, like the information coming to me. And I'm like, you know, I'm being called to do this for a reason. So it's kind of cool knowing that a lot of us are psychics, are mediums.
Yeah.
You know, like we see things and hear things, and it's just to tie it in a correlation is amazing.
Yeah, in our Filipino culture, there's so many parts of the Philippines. And there's so many different kinds of like lineages of shamans and things like that, and healers and all these other names. My ancestors brought to my attention that my roots are from, it's called Babaylan. Filipinos in America, and I guess the ones that aren't truly from that land anymore, that are Americanized, will say, oh, you could only be this and that if, you know, this is happening to you, whatever. But my spirit team has told me what it was for me to step forward in it. And just like your culture and what you're going to explain to us, like you guys have different forms and methods of how to do this Reiki that we call it, right? So what is your culture?
So I practice hoodoo. I am initiated into Regla de Ocha as well, which is like a subsidiary of Santeria, and Santeria is a subsidiary of Ifa, which is like a Yoruban religion.
Beautiful.
So we basically, we're like you guys. We're healers. We call ourselves conjurers. We work roots, and it's different, but it's kind of like it synchronizes with Christianity as well.
Yeah.
So we have different levels of what we do. We don't just mix herb and all the witchiness that comes with that. We also use the Bible. We use Psalms and different things as our spell book. So it's, like I said, it's so many different moving parts in what I do.
Yeah.
And whenever it comes to ancestry, it's very, very important to us, especially whenever it comes to like the close practices that we do initiate into. Whereas hoodoo, you just have to be a descendant of someone that came on the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah.
Whereas with Regla de Ocha or Ifa, you have to be initiated into it. And our ancestors, even though they're far and away, they guide us onto that path to kind of, you know, they put us in the right spaces so that we can move forward and initiate and get all this goodness. Because when we read, like we have hoodoo practitioners that read bones, like throw bones. We do tarot. A lot of us are mediums, psychics, clairaudients. And it kind of just evolves whenever you initiate. Then you can read cowrie shells. And then you can, they have this necklace, and I don't want to mispronounce it or misname it, but all they do is throw it down and they can tell you everything. So I've had so many different type of readings. I've had so many different types of Reiki, but they didn't call it Reiki. So I just feel like it was full circle for me to even be interested in, you know, Reiki, because we call it a hoodoo laying hands.
Yeah.
And usually your elders or a grandmother, and they pray over you and they're making the motions. And, you know, I've seen sound bowls, I've seen bells, I've seen people speak in tongues, and it's just moving energy off of you. And I feel like this is like a new like beginning for me, you know, and my ancestors. Like I'm super
Talking
excited.
about your ancestors, I need to get your permission because they're kind of moving my body. So are you open to listening?
I am 100% open.
You're open to their channels because they're kind of a little funky in my body. I was like, I'm like, wait till she finishes talking. And
they always like, come through.
Yeah, yes. No, they do. And they started saying, I'm like, when I translate it out loud, it doesn't always come to its clearest form, especially when it's not my language. But I'm going to attempt, okay? You guys can figure this out. But they're just like, Uroshete kamatayana akayamo. So I'm like, saying that. I was like, whoa. Okay, I could feel it.
Me too.
If
I'm
you
like,
ask me to say that again, I don't know if I can because that was strong for them to even try to get me to pronounce it right. Just know that's for you. So whatever the fuck that means, we all accept it.
I'm going to have to watch this back and then well, it's so funny that.
Right when I said that, they just like, they gave me the goosebumps, but channels move my body when it's, sometimes my human self calls it's not grounded, but that's not true. Okay. Like, human us tries to give it some type of connection to make sense out of it. Right. But it's just strong. Okay. Sometimes there are not grounding energies that'll kind of like make me feel staticky, but yours isn't staticky. It's just, it's on another place where it feels kind of encapsulated, where they're just like, please open the fuck up. Yeah. Like knock, 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 open the door. Hello, you could hear us. Tell her to open the door. If not, we're going to mess with you until she gets it. But I'm like, okay, she's getting it. She's getting there kind of thing. So just needed your permission.
Yes. No, and it's so funny. I was going to say, Everybody knows like TikTok went down for 10 hours and we were all on Red Note. And I made this Red Note video about my Nigerian ancestors watching me learn Mandarin before I learned Yoruba, Igbo, and I've gotten a lot of readings and never has another language come.
You
through.
have, so you got a lot of folks right now talking a whole different language. The first one was a feminine energy. You have another male talking to me. So while when it starts in my body, it's almost like, it's like a train. It's like, and then when we get the momentum, then at some point through the channels, it'll translate to English if it's for me to hear. But for now, they're still talking in a foreign language. And I'm like, anytime now, let's get to the transition.
Yeah, and it's just cool, man. And I hope that with me doing Reiki, with me just, trying to get closer to my ancestors, trying to do better and be better, because that's the goal, is to be your highest self, right? That I will be able to receive messages better because I feel like they tell me things and I'm like, not right now. Okay? I know I'm messing up. I know I'm a little raggedy. I know y'all need your offerings. So it's all about elevation at this point.
Yeah, it's all about your belief too. I work with Yemaya a lot, so she's from that culture, and then in transition into the Christian to the Catholic side, she is the Virgin Mary as well.
Yes.
So she comes to me in many forms. Hence, probably why I'm drinking a whole ass fucking cup of watermelon because she will ask for these specific offerings and utilizing my body as the altar. So I just felt like on the way here, my body was just like, please go and get this cup, or I will not give you a voice.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. So
they're very funny, and like different spirits such as Oshun, Papalegba, Yamoja, Yumia, they will sometimes like prompt you to get something like a water or like oranges and different things, especially whenever your health is not 100%. Say you like have a cold, they're like oranges, and that's Oshun, and that's one of the offerings that we give. So, or if you have a sweet tooth, Papalegba, I want some candy, make sure you share. So it's just very much so like, it's nice to hear other cultures that are familiar with my culture, because that's not like, I have people that are African American that are not even familiar with my culture.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the spirits or just the channels, whatever we want to call it, is the one to teach. And it's like, well, all these books can be written and all these people can say, and it's like a game of telephone through the books, through the translation, through our voices and stuff. And Yemaya came to me. And then I'm like, now I'm like, can you spell that? And they're like, why? And I'm like, okay, Yemaya. Then I look it up and I'm like, oh, she's a fucking mermaid.
Right, yeah. So it's like, it comes down to like, in our culture, whenever it comes to Ifa, there are no real written books. Like how we have the Bible and different things. All of it is oral tradition.
Same with ours.
Yeah,
it comes through the energy of your body. Hence, it's almost like your ancestors will choose. And I fucking hated it at first. Like,
you never.
I was just like,
because it's like you're
gonna come through.
But that's the ego, and I hated it too. And I was just like, I don't want it. And then it got to the point where I'm like SpongeBob when he had no water. I need it, So it's like shit, and they stay on your neck a lot, and until you do what you are supposed to do. And in my culture is believed like if you ignore spirit in any way, shape, or form, then you get your ass beat. So it's like you're either going to do this and on your own recognizance, or you're going to get spiritually beat up. And I've got spiritually beat up a couple of times being hard-headed, as he shakes his head like, she has. But, it's all in lessons. Ancestors, I feel like they don't allow anything it's like everything is a lesson. There's no such thing as failures. There's just drawbacks and going back to the drawing board. And I feel like they let things happen sometimes.
Yeah. So I like to say that we work through the art of Reiki, right? And I don't even like using the word freaking Reiki sometimes, but when people need to understand what it is, give it a name, so be it. It's fucking Reiki, So, utilize us, like pick our brains. What are some things that you want to know about Reiki?
Okay, so I'm in the middle of the class. I'm like, smack dab. So one thing that I found interesting is that we don't use our personal energy. Like, don't let it deplete you. And I'm like, how do you do that? And they're like, well, you're going to have to wait until attunement to, figure it out. But I was just shocked. I'm like, I've done work for clients, like whether that be court case, spells, success, painful, whatever. And sometimes I do feel depleted even after I've spiritually cleansed. So I'm like worried if I have this person that's sitting there with all of this energy, I don't want it. So how do you guys like do that? Do you still spiritually cleanse, or is it just something that kind of comes to you?
So no matter what you do, there is depletion involved, but depletion doesn't need to mean that you're going to dry out your motherfucking cup. Okay. It's just understanding, knowing that give and take is just the form of life. Right. So I'm actually pass this topic off to Angelica because from how I observe how we've come to meet, she came into the office a lot more on, what would you say, the Western side of the Reiki, because there is a Western, Eastern. And honestly, I've just become aware that I bridge the two.
Yeah.
That is like kind of my specialty. I bridge the two, but at the same time, I use all the everything because it wasn't really my fault that all these other things wanted to connect with me.
Right.
It was just how I'm built, right? And I had to accept it, learn it, and educate myself to be that best vessel. So, I mean, talk about depletion and your experiences with that from your point of view.
I am scared. I'm
then,
like, I don't want to be tired. I'm already
and then
tired.
I'll let you know my side because I don't want to go so far out when you are just in Reiki 1. When I say just because it's the motherfucking beginning, what I mean?
I'm like, no, I'm like, oh my God, I'm already like 4 hours in and I'm only on 1 and I have to do 2. And then I think they have like a 3. It's a lot in that course. It's very thorough. So I'm like, there's a lot to this shit that I never even took into consideration. So how do you combat like depletion?
Or define depletion
or
in your
define
form.
it in it.
So I would say depletion is when I start to feel like lightheaded and like I can't hold capacity for anything else. Like a lot of things will overstimulate me in that moment, and I literally have to sit in solitude and just put that boundary up. But it's funny because there's some textbooks that teach you Reiki that literally say Reiki never depletes.
Yeah.
But just by learning with Rara, no, the more that you give, you're like attaching your energy to that environment. So it's like, if I'm a part of this, there ain't no way I'm not gonna feel this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you get hypersensitive when you start.
Yeah, I'll translate a little bit too while you talk and things like that. So based off of what she was just talking about, I always tell everyone that comes into the office, whether they're learning from me, mentor, whatever it is, right? Hence, we're learning how to expand every part of us. That is exactly what, when you're giving, you have to learn your capacity.
Yes.
And that's what practitioners don't tell you. And then next thing, like I have one student that's like, bitch, how do you do this? And I'm like, what do you mean? And what she meant was, how are you constantly doing these sessions in your weeks and then your months? She's like, I did 4 and I was fucked up.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
And her fucked up, the depletion, your body is going to show you your specific symbols of what your depletion looks like to you. Okay. To me, it feels like dry SpongeBob as fuck.
Yeah.
Literally, I feel like I just went...
Right.
But before that, when I used to smoke weed still, depletion looked totally different to what depletion in my life looks now. And I had to learn, I'm adding to my own depletion when weed never used to be a depletion for me.
Yeah.
It actually used to be an enhancer, a catapulter to get me connected in a shorter amount of time. But my body was like, no more depending on anything. Just more self, more self. Yeah. So now my depletion looks different in different forms. So in the simplest form now for me, it's when my brain is still showing me memories of the client. That means that energy is still taking from me. And in the simplest form, it's I'm still looking back. That means I'm still there. So that means I'm not present. So then when I'm trying to be present, it's almost like a rubber band still pulling me back that way. And very similar to Angelica's, like, I will get negative energy. That depletion, bitch, please.
No, that's what I say. Because I've felt that before, and because
energy that has a high vibration won't take. It will do a give and take, but it won't feel deplete. Okay. But when there is someone with a bigger lack, void, hence almost just like a black motherfucking hole, that shit will deplete in almost like seconds sometimes. And to me, it feels like my throat is closing. I grew up with asthma, so I have seasonal asthma, and energy just kind of knows to punch me there, and they're going to make me feel manipulated in my body. It's manipulation starts to come in. It's easier for me to feel vulnerable, headaches, dry ass SpongeBob feeling. And I feel like I have no color. I don't feel like I have melatonin in my skin.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm pale. So a practitioner's best friend is electrolytes. Because scientifically, also, like you could read all these scientific books, very similar in different forms of how they communicate it. Negative energy will go to the electrons first to start to take and pull. So as humans, they start depleting our electrons first.
And then so by drinking something like, what is those things, liquid IV, or just keeping up with your hydration, that kind of helps.
Yeah. And that, yes, but at the same time, the best that you can just do is eat well, sleep well, stay balanced. It's going to teach you how to be balanced in so many angles of your life.
Yes. I was like in the middle of a chapter and I said, am I mature enough for this? Am I disciplined enough for this shit? Because I'm still staying up late and eating like garbage a lot of the times whenever I know I need to be eating the rainbow. But I totally understand, because depletion has looked like, to me, both of you guys' experiences before, especially during tarot, whenever someone's ancestor shows up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I hear you. And then I start like getting exhausted and I'm like, I want to get off this call at this point,
Yeah.
So, and in my culture, what we do is we basically take spiritual baths and we try to reground ourselves, meditation, different things like that. But I had a spiritual cold, I call them, for every bit of like 2 months straight. And I closed my calendar off because I said, absolutely not. So my goal whenever I do start this is to learn how to balance that out better, which the course I'm taking is really good. It teaches you how to like regroup. And obviously I have to experience it to, So I have another question. They say like you can feel it in your, like the energy in your hands whenever you start a session with someone. How does that feel? Like,
So you want to talk about the heart you pulled out?
Oh yeah. So there was this our hospice client. We actually volunteer. She had heart failure in the past, and that's why she's at home right now. But I felt static in that area, and it literally just feels like zinging, zap of electricity in your hand. And sometimes it's just so heavy that you just gotta, you feel called to just grab that shit from them. And I mean, sometimes it feels cold, sometimes it feels hot. It's a different energy release for everybody.
Yeah. And again, it's different. That's why I believe Reiki, when you're doing the course, it is basic. But then I do wish there was continuing education, which for me, I am filling that gap. Now, after every attunement that I provide my students, after 21 days, I will have hands-on.
You teach it?
Yeah, bitch. Which I was
You didn't tell me like she was I thought you were just a practitioner. No. I've been taking your course.
So I was gonna save it for the end of the podcast. But I'm inviting you to take one of the seats on the course, which I have 2 seats left.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And it's on Saturday.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's an honor. Thank you. And it's like I said, I wish I would have known, because once I started the course, I started Googling, because they were like, if you're in person, I'm like, wait a minute.
It's different in person.
And oh my goodness, thank you.
But I believe if everything's right? Yeah. I do believe that there's magic and connection. So I always tell people when they come to the office, I'm like, you're not just here to be here.
Yeah.
Like there's something that led you to us here in the office, because I truly believe every practitioner is different. So they were supposed to connect with whoever is there helping them. If they're here with me and I'm like, there's something about you and I know this trend in myself of the type of people that I receive in my life because I manifest that from it. I know what kind of people I like to help, love to help, and what I'm passionate about. And I want it to translate with value into these people, you know? So the people that I get is people that are like popping off, like in their spirituality. You're like you've gone through these elevations in life and now... Was that a sneeze? Bless you. Or whatever.
In the back of my throat, I'm like, I need some water. This Red Bull is not putting it down.
So the people that are coming, they're popping off in spirituality. It's like, this is your smack in the face, left turn, kind of like hit it or fucking quit it time now. And I help people understand and how to utilize their senses. So I like to say, I'm turning all your notches up. It's like, you're up, let's up and straighten and recalibrate it, and let's just walk in a straight damn line. Yeah. So you could just pull when you need it, right? And understanding yourself. And I mean, she teaches too. We have different types of people.
I had no idea. That and it's funny, like in my, what I think God and my ancestors have put forth is learning, but also teaching. I teach on Patreon, which not Reiki, of course, but like, that's what I do. And I love that there are other, girl bosses that do the same thing in spirituality. I feel like it's just very, very niche. And even though, like you said, I love the course, I'm learning, but after I watched it, someone actually doing a session online, I said, this is very just textbook, what you need to know. It's going to take practice and time, to tune up the skill and everything else.
Yeah, I took my master course 2 times. I was just curious. I was just like, okay, like, is there something that I maybe need to know more of? Or like, I'm just curious of how you're even teaching it. No one even teaches you how to fucking teach the course. Like, what? Like,
I know you have to just kind of MacGyver it and make your own, like, what works.
Yeah, it's like you're a master now. The difference with masters that you're able to teach, and we're like, okay, I'm ready. Right. How?
Right. Yeah.
Actually, I do want to add to that though, because I'm so grateful that I did meet Rara, because I felt so lost in the spiritual community. Not to like knock on it at Vegas, but it's like, again, it's like the course textbook teaches you this, but then when you get into these situations like feeling depleted, then what?
Right.
They didn't tell you how to ask the right questions. They didn't tell you like what you need to do in order to then refill yourself again. So
shout out
it'll
to
be
you.
a powerful class.
And that's, like I said,
an honor even to meet people like you, because bitch, why even do this is because I did not want to feel
gas me up, please don't get me started.
Well, it's hence why I'm even here and why I do what I do, is because I never wanted to feel like I was the alien on my own. Yeah. Okay. So the people that I get on my table, I'm like, you are just like me in your own form, and I want to crank that bitch up, and then we could be fucking weird together.
Yes, that's what I'm like. Listen, in Vegas, it's hard.
I want them to feel normal.
Yeah, and that's where, and online, this is why I have the community that I do, because I'm like, you may be Wiccan, I practice hoodoo, this person does this, but we get online and we learn from each other and we talk about our different cultures. And I wish that there was a community that was like that here in Las Vegas, because it's different whenever you can sit in someone's energy and can see like they're really genuine people. There's no shadow, which we all have our light and dark moments, but Vegas is it's a portal. So it's very... It
is. It's a melting pot of so many things.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. So it's nice to like sit with like-minded people, and I can say like, I had a session today and I feel like shit afterwards. And then they not look at you like, girl, what the hell is you talking about?
Your senses will just crank up through Reiki. Like on the way to the office before we came here, my heart was palpitating, and I messaged Angelica and I was like, bitch, did you drink a gallon of coffee? Because I was like, because my heart is pumping. Yeah. Like I low-key was like hyper, like I just want to be like,
oh no. And the answer was yes.
Yeah. I don't drink coffee. So I was like, this is a coffee feeling.
No, I had a cup of coffee before I came.
So it's probably both of you guys.
Yes, yeah. And I was super nervous because I'm usually the interviewer. I think the last person that interviewed me was Austin, So it's like, it's different whenever you are in the hot seat, but I could feel like, okay, this is bad bitch energy. It's okay. Like, they're not like gonna look at you crazy because I'm used to being the one that's teaching, the one that's interviewing. And I was just like a kid in a candy store when he was like, she wants you to come on the show. I was like, for real?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he said it and I was like, that'd be perfect.
Right.
I mean, because like the point is, right? Like, I want people to understand what we do, how we do it, and the fact that it's possible.
Yes.
We're all capable, but if you want to learn it, cool, so be it. You know, whether it's through me or whoever the hell you find it's possible. I remember when I used to be a traveling go-go dancer, and I was sitting in the car on the way to Texas from San Diego, and one of my friends was like, you know, you can go to like a psychic school. And I was like, you can go to school for this shit? And then she was like, yeah. And I was like, really? And I like finished nursing stuff at this time. And I'm like, what the fuck was I just doing? And I was like, are you serious? And then my little ass iPhone at the time trying to search it. And then we had no
school.
Yeah. And then it was talking about all of these institutions, like, and then I ended up going to the Southwest Healing School of Institute Arts or something like that.
Yeah.
And it didn't really click at the time.
Yeah.
But it's possible. But I mean, aura ritual and practice, the point, I mean, aura, my name's Rob, but I mean,
right.
aura, it was just another spelling of the aura, right? And ritual and practice, it's because everything is a continuous practice, but you got to find your ritual. And by practicing that ritual, it just circulates, you know? And then the O signifies just the cycle.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I didn't even thank you. I was like, I'm looking at the sign behind you like, O-R.
Yeah. And then the little fire is because the Reiki we practice is holy fire.
Okay.
So there's different kinds of Reiki, whatever, you know, just Reiki beyond.
Yes.
It just into infinity beyond.
Yeah. I told like my assistant, she lives in the Philippines, and I told her I was meeting with you, and I sent her your page too, because we be watching content and we'll come back and be like, you know, we really like this content creator, and we'll send it. And she was explaining to me, like, there is so many different, like, practices here in the Philippines, shamans, and it's very, because at this point, I didn't taught that girl to conjure hoodoo better than me, because she helps me, like, make all of my canvas little things, and she's her own little healer and her thing. But she's like, you know, it's a lot of different things that we do here. We do Reiki, we do chakra healing. There's a lot of shamans. And I'm just like, where were they at whenever I spent 3 weeks in the Philippines? Because I was like literally not trying to offend anyone down there with my practices.
Yeah.
Going on Lazada, ordering stuff. That's their Amazon. So yes, I had to order sage from there. I'm like, you know, and cedar. But it's just so interesting how different backgrounds still share the same type of connection and some of the same practices in grounding and healing and different things like that.
And we could all learn from each other.
Yeah.
You know, because she was just talking about a ritual at the office. She was like, what ritual can I do so that you don't pick up on my stuff? And I was like, girl, I don't know, whatever the fuck you do, but I don't know what's going to work because I'm just built this way. You know, it's like everything for everyone just keeps cranking up.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I don't really know if there's anything that'll stop it, because I don't think we're supposed to be stopped.
No.
You know, we're just supposed to just understand and just accept sometimes and be it.
Yeah, it's like the law of oneness. We're all interconnected in some type of way. And since you guys both do similar but the same but not the same type of things, I couldn't imagine like me and my bestie like telepathically communicating. We already do it with our eyes and our resting bitch faces. But other than that, like I couldn't imagine like if my partner had a coffee and I'm not a coffee drinker and I'm over there like pretty bird.
That's the channeling part,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So it's like earlier, right before we started, when I was like, okay, let me adapt, because my hands just wanted to be like, and then they'll clap when they're excited.
Yeah.
But then online it might look like fucking Tourette's, you know? Like, what?
It's like something's
Yeah,
wrong
and I'll
with
be
this
like,
girl.
okay, what are we doing? You know,
Right,
but they're
yeah.
just happy, you know, like your ancestors, mine, whoever is just kind of happy.
Yeah, I can't believe they came through with that, with something else, you know, or something in another language. Whenever I was just poking fun that I'm kind of bogus for learning Mandarin so I can go on Red Note before I learned my people's tongue, because we don't, us as African Americans, we don't really know where we come from unless we do the DNA test.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny, because I have a lot of different things that I figured out that a lineage from.
Yeah, and knowing your roots, for Filipinos, it's hard because we're colonized. And to decolonize us, it's fucking lost in the sauce, you know? And when people practice our culture, sometimes I'm like, how come I don't even eat that? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, geez, but, you know, everything really is all within you that you need to know. It'd be nice if my parents had records or something and photos so I could be like, okay, I learned it from because of this, you know? Not because of what you can't see, but it all works anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything is stored in us and we just got to unlock it.
Yes. And I'm learning that. And I think, I don't know what happened at the end of last year, but I feel like, or not even the end of last year, last 5 years, I feel like everybody's kind of evolving in that way where they're realizing like you are the altar and you can do these things. You just have to unlock it, right? And for a long time, like I ignored it. Like whenever I'm thinking it's intuition until I have a medium friend that I'm FaceTiming with. And she's like, you have a lot of dead people in your house and you're not listening to them. And they're going to keep trying to get me to tell you that whatever it is.
That right there was exactly why they were so strong. Because they're all trying to bombard because I don't know what they know, but whether they know I can hear them or not, I could feel them. So I feel like they kind of all rush and there's like, okay, and I'm just like,
this for me.
Hold on. You know, I'm like, hold on, that's another fucking language, you know? And I'm like,
and that's crazy because that's how it feels whenever I ground myself before I even do tarot readings. You know, I pray to my ancestors before I even get on the call, and then I have me and the client pray together.
Yeah, they're like, you're talking to us, but you can't hear us talk to you. They're like, what?
And they're like, I promise, I have the most passive aggressive and like sarcastic ancestors ever because they're like, how can we listen to her ancestors? But I told you I wanted more water on my altar 2 weeks ago. You know?
Okay, so I have I work with Santa Muerte a lot too. So I work with so many different deities that I've learned from because they came to me, you know? It's not that I'm like picking them, but Santa Muerte is on my altar and I have a little cup, like this crystal cup where I put water in it. And then I'm just like, damn, she for real drinks that shit. And like, my boyfriend will be like, I swear it's the cat. And I'm like, they have nowhere to step on this altar. And then I fill it and that bitch is gone. And I'll stand in front of it and she'll be like, water. And I'll be like, is the cat drinking it or is she drinking it? I'm like, I can't tell, but I'm hearing she wants water.
Yes. And so I only have 2 dogs, and the most they'll do if I put an offering of food out and I leave it there for 24 hours, by the 23rd hour, one of them is going to take something from it. So they're not able to drink the water that's behind it. And when I tell you, they drink a lot of water and black coffee. That's their jam. I have some ancestors that like liquor a lot, but I don't need those problems. So I'm like, we don't really do liquor that much, but it's them. It's not your cat. Trust me. It's them.
Yeah, because I'll even bring that shit to the sink. I'll be like, do. And then she'll be like, warm water. And I'll be like,
why?
What happened? I literally, my mental will challenge her and be like, what if I put cold water?
Right.
And then she'll be like, warm water. And I'm like, ooh, okay. And actually, Santa Muerte is who told me to stop smoking weed. And from the day she told me, I was like, ooh, I'm going to listen because I don't want any of that karma she's about to spank my ass with.
And it's funny in reverse. Like, I was told that I need to smoke more weed. You know, I'm not like a big smoker. I call myself like a baby smoker where I just do it to focus, and I have ADHD really bad, so it helps. But I'm not smoking it enough where I can sit down and really like think, you know what I'm saying? And I talked to my therapist, and it's so crazy because I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to start trying to smoke a little bit more. And then I sat down with my therapist and I'm like, my ADHD is out of control. My mind is running. And she's like, have you ever thought about smoking weed? And I'm like, okay, maybe that's confirmation that.
You want another spiritual channel of what goes on in your brain?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll reel it back into topics of Reiki 1 because I have questions there. So it's a lot of times there are these things or diagnoses or whatever you want to call them that we, I don't know, categorize ourselves in mentally. But a lot of times these are happening when we don't hone in our gifts.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like when you're honed in your gifts and when people, like, for example, when they ask me, like, why are you so chill? Like, you're just listening to all these things and like, you're just so chill. I'm like, well, it's like mastering your body in a sense, right? I mean, we're all still kind of continuously doing that. So I can't say I've mastered myself, but I feel like I mastered myself for this now until it starts fucking up again and whatever. And I got to reel it back in and recalibrate. But you just got to hone in your gifts, because until then, the humanness is still trying to take control. So then when you're taking control of that, you're doing all the human things still. The coffee, Like I could see how the smoking weed is going to connect you to that trance state for you to learn more from them, to hear them more, to open it up. But it could feel scary.
Yeah,
it could feel like
it's already
that
scary.
space of that space of where your heart goes. And where your mind goes when they connect and align to give you all the info, it's a lot of info.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm going crazy when it's so loud in my head and I don't know how to take it out or push pause real quick so I could kind of connect back to my body.
Yeah. And that's what I'm working on, is surrendering. Like not being so closed off or afraid or whatever. Because, I mean, being afraid is a human emotion, right? But I'm trying to be my highest self. And if I do have human emotions, knowing how to deconstruct and kind of mesh those together. And I feel like once you surrender and you just relax and listen to your body, everything goes smoother. Because whenever my therapist was like, I think you have ADHD. And I was like, really? What makes you think that? And then I'm like moving around and doing all this stuff. Like I really can't sit still. And I'm just like, the same even for my kid. Like she's creepy. I love my daughter to death, but she scares the crap out of me. I'm like, please don't tell me shit else.
Oh, she's so intimidated.
She's seeing dead, and I'm like, I'm closing it off. But you know, it's hard because I don't want her to be afraid. And like you said, whenever you're in tune with your body and you've kind of relaxed and surrendered and let your mind and your spirit take over, then it's a whole different ballgame. That's where I'm trying to be.
And it's timing, right? So it's like hence giving ourselves grace all the time, because it's timing. But I've seen so many people get on my table and they're like, I'm bipolar. I'm like, no, you're not, bitch. No. And then they're like, I have ADHD. And I'm like, no, you don't, bitch. And I'm like, actually, you need to take this off the list. Like, here's your holy ass prescription. Like, literally holy prescription. Like, all right, so you got to do this at this time and do this. And then you come back when your body's, they're like, when? And I'm like, you'll know. You'll know when you start kind of reversing. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you just got to leave the place first, integrate out, and you'll understand.
Yeah. And I think Reiki really helps people kind of deconstruct the ego and fears and different things like that.
I totally believe everyone. At one point in my life, I was doing Reiki ones for free because I believed everyone in the world should have at least the first level of Reiki. And then my spirit team smacked me a little bit, and they're like, ma'am. And I was like, okay, fine. So I stopped that last year in March. It's going to be a year since I've been taking value exchange for my Reiki 1 course. But okay, talking about Reiki 1. Reiki 1, again, is you're a little more advanced with what you can get to really quick. But at the same time, people will teach Reiki 1 and 2 together. I believe in the separation of the two because it's a fat journey and integration to learn yourself. I believe Reiki 1 is understanding yourself and learning confidence in yourself. How it starts, how you work, what your mind says, what you do, why you, all of those things. So let's talk about what it was like when we were Reiki 1 practitioners.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
So what was Reiki like for you? Because for me, I got Reiki because I wanted, jokes on me, I was looking to find something to control my visions. I'd be driving, and next thing I was driving to the beach because I had nothing better to do around this time of my life. I was driving to the beach. And next thing you know, I'm watching, literally, if my eyes are right here, I'm watching this whole movie of parts of my life. I was doing shadow work at the time, which I didn't know at the time. I was just like, why am I watching all these fucking memories? And I'm crying. And I was watching it like right up here in my head. And then while I was watching that, I don't even know where the fuck my eyes went because they were just gone. Like I was just straight up here. And next thing you know, when that like moved out the way, my eyes felt like they opened, but they were open the whole time. And I literally looked at my rear view mirror and I was like, did I just pass red lights or were they green? Because I don't
That has happened to me before.
So I was like, so I don't even remember. It's like zoning out, but times 10.
Yes.
And I remember pulling over next to a laundromat and was just like, fuck, maybe
Why
all the
would-
drugs I
right.
did is getting to me.
Damn.
I literally was like, I think I need help.
But you know what? And that's the biggest coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. I think the fuck not.
Right,
The
right,
fact
right,
that you literally went to stop the visions and ended up becoming a master and have the visions even
Yeah.
more, and now it's clearer.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, joke's on me, because I look back and I'm like, control, bitch. You cannot control shit.
Yeah, no, it just comes down to like, I'm so excited to start Reiki 1 and be the little newborn Reiki.
Embryo?
Yeah. No, I'm not even the embryo.
no more?
Remember, I
You
was the
cracked open
egg.
now? Oh, yeah.
Now I'm an embryo, and
Oh.
Reiki 1 is very thorough. And I was just, or this one that I'm taking, but I'm gonna get another one too. So, but it's very thorough, and I'm like, God damn, how long is this chapter? It's been 4
Mine's a
hours.
day, and
Yeah.
then I'm sure everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, you could have split this into." I'm like, "No, bitch, one day activation, and then the real journey starts." You know. So, what was your Reiki one like?
So Reiki 1 for me was like a full ass purge. It's like
Yeah.
that you have that inner knowing of your vessel, right? And then it's like seeing your time or your life kind of time lapse, and you know shit that you need to let go, and you're like watching it.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
It's
things,
hard, right?
things are teeter-tottering. It's like, damn, okay,
Yeah.
things that don't serve me anymore, things are starting to clash
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
resist. And so then it's like, okay, I'm getting pushed into this new elevated phase, and I know my heart wants to keep me here.
Yes.
But I know my vision has to keep going, and I gotta keep
yeah.
walking. So with the
Like
integration.
shadow work times
It's a
100.
lot.
of shadow
That's
work.
why I think
Yeah.
Reiki 1 and 2 should be separate. But I mean, if any other practitioners feel called to teach 2 at the same, like the right day after, then so be it, right? This is my perspective and what I believe in with it. But it's true. There's a lot of things that you got to learn about yourself, and it shows you that you still have that choice, but you're going to be able to kind of open up to the feelings of why that choice was either right or wrong. And then through there, it just keeps heightening when you align yourself to what is right. But then at the same time, whatever you do choose is right for that moment, right? Fucking fuckery.
Right, right,
Like Jesus.
Okay, what's this teaching me now?
right. So, how was your attunements?
My attunement, I was always spiritual. I was doing tarot cards. I
Yeah.
would spend my time in Buddha shops and psychic shops. I don't even know what the fuck I was looking at. I was just touching everything, you know?
Yeah.
This is cool. That's
Yep.
cool. And I was always watching. My life started off in a very dark place. I was seeing low frequency things in my home.
Yes.
And just the things that were intruding in my brain. I didn't know that when I was younger, but made sense. Maybe those places made me feel safe without realizing it. But when I met the Reiki practitioner, she sounded so fucking alien to me. I was
Yeah,
like, who's in the
yeah.
room? Like, what? And I would sit there, and it was like 10 at night because she had some day job and she was doing this for me and whatever. I guess she saw something in me that I didn't know before,
Yeah.
right? Like, kind of like we see that in students.
Yeah.
But however she manifested my ass, I was right for her, I guess.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, I remember I couldn't really hear it because I think I was half-assed falling asleep. And then I was so rude as a girl, like, oh God. So I was just like there, and she was doing whatever she was doing. And I think she was like, you could open your eyes now. And I just stayed there. I was just like, and in my head, I was like, what'd she say? And then I think she let me sit there for a while. And then next thing you know, she was like, okay, open your eyes. And I was like, oh, she said open my eyes. And then she's like, how are you feeling? And I was, in my head, I'm like, no fucking different than when I closed my eyes.
Yeah.
And then we did 2 days of that. And at that time, I think it was like 200 something. It took me forever to even pay that 200.
Yeah.
But I did because I felt like I needed to. But a part of me also didn't want to because I was
Yeah.
just like, I need this $200, lady.
Right.
You know?
And you're thinking in your head, I don't feel any difference either,
Yeah,
right?
but it was hard for me to have trust. I didn't have much feeling in my body yet either because I
Yeah.
was the most numb person walking around, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, just like a lot of where we all started off, really. Like, it's
Yeah.
very common. And I think it's just kind of like a growing up kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And but I was really hyped to have it. I was like hyped to have magic. My life revolved around the word magic. And I mean, growing up, people are like, oh, you're a witch. I'm like, maybe the fuck I am. If I am, then fucking turn these on, you know?
Yeah.
Like fire, like whatever.
Yeah.
I was looking
Yep.
for the real magic in life, and I didn't realize it was actually all in this
Yes.
thing, you know?
Yep.
And it's beautiful. And I started trying to help people because they'd be like, oh, I have a headache. I'm like, oh, It says I can help headaches, And then guess the fuck what, bitch? I would get a headache right after.
Yeah,
so I was like, no one told me that's what was happening. My brain picks up on patterns very easily. So without me really knowing, I was like, I think I'm getting her headache.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't tell someone, hey, I'm doing Reiki. I think I got your headache. I was just working on their headache. And then they're like, oh, this kind of feels interesting. It didn't go away fully at the time because I think my Reiki energy needed to kind of still stretch and needed to be utilized and we needed to build a relationship. And I didn't really feel much. I didn't really understand what that felt like. Very common, right? How do you know when it's on?
Right, yeah.
You get that shit all the time. You're like, but it's the belief of knowing it's on is how you turn that bitch on. And you're not a bitch, sorry. They're like, excuse me? Like, oh, real quick. So I would put my hands on their head. They would start to feel better. It wasn't gone fully, but now it went from a migraine to just a very small little pinch in their head. Yeah. And next thing you know, I'd be like, la-di-da-di-da after. And I'm like, ooh. I think I had. So, yeah. And it was constant. Every time I did that for people, for some reason, I would choose headache people to do it on because I think it was the magic of them feeling it and then like having a headache and then not having a headache. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like there was lots of proof there.
Yeah.
I was still, again, showing myself proof. All of these little immature things, you know, and going on in my brain. And when that kept happening, I stopped fucking doing Reiki.
Really?
I had Reiki 1 for about 7 years.
Wow.
I always tell people you could either go through Reiki 1 the way you should, or you could get stuck in cycles in Reiki 1. I wasn't passing my tests in my Reiki 1 life because I kept choosing wrong. I kept rebelling. I kept going against my own self, my own life until I lost myself even more.
Yeah.
Like I had no other feeling in my body. All I felt was anxiety and fear. Literally only those two things. And I didn't know what else to fucking do. And then I went to yoga, was trying to find it all back, got on antidepressants, went on all these things to find the feeling back. And magically Reiki 2 came back in my life. Or Reiki came back into my life. And then I was just like, fuck that, I'm getting Reiki 2 because something's happening.
Yeah.
Hence, I didn't even know how the memories of my divorce was still in my head because I thought I was over it. I would go to these Reiki circles and it was almost like it was disappearing. And I didn't know how that shit was like glued to my fucking dome. You know, I was like, I'm not thinking about it. And next thing I'm like, oh, yeah, I really don't even have the thought to even think about it.
Right.
So I was like, something's happening here. So I wanted to dive even deeper.
Wow. So how long have you been doing Reiki altogether?
Since 2013.
Oh, so you're not new to this. You true is. Yeah. You've been doing it a long time.
Yeah. And then how like mastery and all these things came to my life. At Reiki 2, I ended up becoming so obsessed with being in a trance. I love that world more than I loved this one outside. Wow. So I would be like, all right, get on the table. Let me see what the fuck is in your world. You know, I was constantly trying to just see where they were at inside. And I was just experimenting with every body, hence their body, but for myself. I guess that's kind of like a little selfish at the time. Yeah. But the beauty of it was, you know, I was unintentionally getting healed at the same time. And it was doing something for me when I just thought I was exploring and I guess like just experimenting. Yeah. Experimenting had something behind it the whole time. That's amazing. That's everything life is. I actually just gave Angelica a book for her birthday and it talks about how life is the experiment.
Yes.
And it really is. So when I teach the bridge from Reiki 1 to Reiki 2, it's literally about asking the right questions and how to feel them so that you can expand all of these things. So you could have X-ray motherfucking vision, you know?
And that's what I said. When I seen it, then I was like, oh, yeah, I want to. Because it's not just about, oh, you're putting your hand. No, like for you said I could literally lay somebody on the table and see where they're at.
Yeah.
And just, it's so much stuff just put into Reiki itself. And it, like you said, I don't even think we were recording. You don't even like to call it Reiki. It's just like that energetic connection between yourself and the person that you're doing it on.
Yeah. Like how she was talking about earlier that she picked up a heart, right?
Yeah,
How do you know when to pick up a heart? How do you know that you can pick up a heart? And then we did, she was in a Reiki 1 class with a student that I taught, and we all kind of like practiced and stuff like that. And I asked her to ask something at the feet. And I was like, okay, the feet, and this is a lot more advanced, and if people want to try it, so be it. But not gatekeeping here. So I'm like, when you get to the feet, call on their name, right? So if I'm working on Rara on the table, hence you could do that. You could work on yourself after level 2. You could work on yourself and do yourself at a distance. You'd be like, wow, that's what my body's telling me, you know? But at the foot, I'll be like, okay, Rara, where you at? Like literally, that's what I say. I'm like, there's no professional way to call me in. You know? I'm just like, Rara, where you at?
Yeah.
And then I just wait. But when you're waiting, you're in a specific place waiting. You're not up here. You're just here in this space. It just feels like it's at the chest and just external right here. And that's centered. That's in your heart. And you're not thinking, you're not trying, you're just breathing and being. And little ass Rara will come through and she's doing whatever she's doing.
Yeah.
And from there, you're reading that now, not the body outside. You're connecting with the body to get inside, and then you could go into multidimensional places. And whatever the body and that Rara is doing inside is affecting the one outside. So we got to understand what's happening inside.
Yeah, see, this is why I was like, I'm glad that we had a conversation, because this is what I'm learning is very just basic. You know, I knew that you could do it on yourself, but I did not know that you could do it to yourself before I had read that. I thought this was just a outsider thing, but whenever we were going over the Reiki 1 portion of it, they're like, yeah, and then 2, you'll learn how to do Reiki on yourself. And I'm like, wait, I can do that?
Yeah, even at Reiki 1, you can.
Yeah, and so it just, like I said, my goal in learning this new skill is not only to heal others, but to center, to ground, to spiritually be able to heal, you know?
To be your best vessel for yourself and whoever comes your way.
Be that girl, like, and I'm excited, and I told you guys, I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous because I'm like, what if I do it? And I'm like you said, is it on? Like, I don't know. But I feel like, you know, with us having a newfound friendship, I have 2 masters.
We got your back.
I'm looking at him like, you didn't tell me they teach. I just...
I didn't really know much, actually.
I'm like, wait, classes, hold on. I gotta, you know.
Angelica, do you have any stories that you want to share?
Yes.
Kind of like give her some insight on like how you've seen things or worked through things?
Okay, so this one sticks out to me so much. I'll see things in movie clips. There was a girl on our table, I don't want to say her name. We'll call her.
I'll
we'll
understand
call her
who it is
Frozen Box.
Okay, yes. Elsa?
Frozen right,
Elsa.
No, it was crazy. I was literally seeing visions of her physical body, right? And she was in a casket. It was snowing, but the casket would shift from like transparent to a glass to a wooden thing, and it would just keep going, shifting back and forth. And then I heard her yell so angrily, and she like pulled out a sledgehammer and hit the bitch. She like cracked open her own glass casket. She like elevated from her own body and did that. And the translation for her, she felt like she heard her partner, and they've been having a lot of issues. I think they're actually going through a divorce right now. So it was kind of like her inner self getting that power and rage and just breaking through.
Oh, wow. If those are, that's why I said, I know. Am I mature enough for this?
If you're not even, I mean, wherever you're at is the right place because you're going towards it, you know?
Yeah.
And hence, you're not even going towards it. You're already fucking in it.
I know. And I'm like, girl, what are you worried about? But, you know, it's that same, everybody that's in the beginning of something new, they question themselves like, am I going to be grounded enough? And like you said a little bit earlier, you have to let go of certain things that don't serve you. And those things, even though they don't serve you, sometimes they feel
You'll
good.
know, though.
You know, they taste good. But even now, as I'm taking this course and as I'm learning more about my spirituality and kind of, because I always say, like, they always call me like their mentor and they want to mentor. I said, I'm still learning every single day of things
So are
about
we,
it.
though, you know?
Yeah. So I try to tell myself, because I questioned it. I did a couple of times. I'm like, I got to be serious because I also play entirely too damn much, you know? Like, I'm a big kid. So I think whenever it comes down to it, every new thing that you learn, especially from scratch, it always has that little bit of doubt that you don't know what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
But the lucky thing is that you ladies hold classes, and it makes it a little bit easier transition where I don't feel like, okay, I'm just relying on YouTube University to tell me how the hell I should feel better after a session.
Yeah.
Or,
and everybody
you know,
is different. So it's hard to, for me as a teacher, it's hard to, I guess you would say, monetize how to teach when everyone's starting off at a different place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very difficult. And then, like you said, those type of visions, nobody talks about that. That's not in the manual. They didn't tell me I was signing up for that shit. They told me
But
that.
some people actually,
Yeah.
they don't get there. Not
Yeah.
everyone gets there.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Like Western Reiki is very just, hence our foundation, where it's like we're helping medical people just open up their heart, open up their mind, open up whatever, make them feel relaxed, stressed, decompress.
Yeah.
Hence the boring stuff. To me, it's the boring stuff because I like seeing the other world. But it's still beautiful in the way that it does help people out there that don't need to be spiritual, you know?
Yeah.
But being able to translate it, that's also another gift.
And
Being able to put words to the feelings, to create that image, to define it.
Yes. And I'm like, it's that first day of school and you're the new kid. So I'm like nervous but excited because that gives me almost like a new language, a new like sight that I've never experienced before. It's one thing where you can hear ancestors and the deceased tell you to tell your tarot client one thing, but it's a whole nother thing whenever you've mastered your abilities in your mind to be able to visualize a place that someone's at, you know, or be able to feel someone's heart or see what they're envisioning. It's crazy. And then I had a question. This is so random. And I jumped off the couch and ran to go tell my husband this when I read it in the course. They were like, if somebody has a pacemaker, then you can't do Reiki on them. Or like you want to be careful around their heart. And he was like, really? And I was like, no, I'm like shocked. Like this shit is real. Like, I don't think you understand. I'm like looking at him like, yeah, for real, you can't do that. Have you ladies ever heard that?
I did hear about that. They're a little bit more hypersensitive, so you wouldn't want to use certain things like certain vibrational bowls.
Yeah, like there's a person that's told her plenty of times that, like, I can't do bowls. No matter what it is, I can't do bowls. But her body needs to kind of still, what I'm seeing it as, crack into a place to where her frequency feels safe with that frequency.
Yeah.
Right? So she's still in that place of like holding guard in a specific sense. So when you try to hit that guard, it freaks out.
Yeah. I love whenever we do like singing bowl. Oh, it's like massages my brain.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's going to be one of the tools that I use just because I love the way it sounds just on a day-to-day basis. I didn't know that people, it's kind of like sage. Excuse me. Austin, can you give me a water and edit this part out? I have something like...
Well, what it is, it's probably opening up your chakra.
Right.
We got about 30 left, too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like...
letting this one go a little bit over.
Thank you.
It's like something, I feel like I swallowed a cotton ball or something. This is not making it any better.
Well, while you just talk to us, I mean, just with anyone, I think with just good frequency, like I think we're going to lift things out of your body regardless.
Yes.
So in the
I have very nasty habits. I need to let them go.
Like the last session that I had on the podcast, I was telling him to be aware that by the end of it, whatever was with him is probably going to be lifted.
Yeah.
And it was while we were in session. So it's probably the same thing that's here. But frequency wise, so last night, let me talk about it a little bit. Last night when I was when my body jumps kind of fast forward, it's like I'm in this present, right? But inside, I'm already maybe like a few hours or it's even sometimes days ahead. It really just depends, or it's all at the same time. It's kind of fucking weird. Weird, but normal. It's just weird because it's hard to comprehend.
I'm right.
Time
The
and
average
space.
air,
Yeah.
if you were to say that, like to the average air, they'd be like, what? But I understand what you're saying because the gift of sight is the gift of sight. So
Which
sometimes you skip
everyone
ahead.
that does listen is probably understands. And
Yes.
if they don't, then you're probably getting there. So be it. Or you could change the channel. So my head was doing your ADD thing last night where my body was sleeping, but I wasn't sleeping because I was awake in the brain. So I knew that I didn't want to be exhausted for the next day because when I'm exhausted, I'm more vulnerable to everything else, right? So, and I have a long as fucking week ahead of me. And I was like, please don't do this. And I was like, okay. So my spirit team goes, put a frequency on. And my AC in my apartment or my heater is so loud that...
Sorry.
Thanks,
He's just
Austin.
making sure I don't die over
Yeah.
here. Thank you.
Feeling SpongeBob.
Yeah, I know. I need
Water. So my spirit team in the middle of the night was telling me to put a frequency song on. But before I did that, I do this thing where I'm sleeping, but sometimes it's just another fucking realm. I'm working in there too. So my body is healing at the same time. So my body moves a lot through the frequencies. And I was just like, oh my God. And I woke up and I was like, fuck, my body is healing.
Yeah.
You know, it's healing the visions it's seeing. And I'm not even fucking
yeah.
there yet. So I kind of like rolled around, heard them go put frequency on. And I just played the first fucking one. AC here was loud because it goes, and then I can't even hear my phone anymore. But I learned something new for myself last night was I didn't even need to turn up the volume. Originally I would, but I turned around from my phone. I didn't want to turn back to click the volume.
Right.
The loud noise of my heater was roaring and I could feel the frequency in my environment. And I wasn't even, obviously because my brain at the time was just like, okay, I need to listen to frequency. But then of course I just needed the frequency in my environment to change. Yeah, and I finally went to bed. I was basically in that limbo healing sleep from 10 to 12, and it was almost 1.
Yeah. So you're like, no, it's time for you to.
Yeah, but I was
time for you to lay
seeing,
down.
I was literally seeing us, like I was like in the right top corner up here watching us already.
Wow. Yeah. See, and that would have freaked me out maybe 2 years ago, but now I'm feeling like I'm ready to, I know that I have these gifts. Like I know it. And I'm just ready to like cultivate them and sharpen them. And yeah, like I was saying, whenever we were a couple minutes ago, it's a lot of things that is going to hurt me to let go of because
it breaks
you know,
your human heart.
I know. I'm like, listen, I like being raggedy. Hold on. It's fun. But I feel like this is like discipline.
Yeah. Well, we have big hearts, right? Like earlier, Angelica told me, she was like, well, you know, like, what would you say when I was picking up the coffee thing? And I was like, yeah, it kind of sucks, whatever. And she was like, well, you're like strong to do it or whatever you said.
Like we have the capacity to do these
Yeah.
things. Like, it's in the cards that we're in these places.
Yeah.
to
But
hold
it's not
space.
always fun, you know? Like I'll go home and cry about how I helped someone cross over and that my intention was to make them feel relaxed and rested. Fuck, rested enough to cross the fuck over? I'm like, bitch. I'm like, why am I doing
So that's a part of Reiki too. So whenever you guys go out, or you ladies go out and work, it's not just what we see, the traditional, oh, come to my studio and this. You guys actually go out and help people transition as well. Or not help, but like you visit hospice spaces and different things like that.
Yeah, or in their homes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So depending on, what I feel called to, like whatever instrument I want to bring or
Yeah.
holy water sometimes.
Holy water. And
Yeah.
in the office, always on deck.
Right.
Once that bitch gets low, another bottle. Yeah.
No, yeah, because, and I can imagine why it would be no different than me bringing Florida water, holy water too. Now you have the gift of sight. Have you ever been in a space where it was just very, very low vibrational and just like, let me hurry up, get this off and go?
Yeah, the hurrying is it's a manipulation to the mind too in our human form. But you have to trust and believe. I've worked with lots of darkness, like even to the point where I was miniature possessed, you know, miniaturely, whatever the fuck the word is, just very small possession in my body. And it really does think it's powerful compared to who you believe you are. It challenges you on that. But yeah, you can see it. I worked with people that come from haunted places and I could see it on their face, and I'll literally like be looking, but I'm not sure what I'm looking at. But what it looks like is a lot of times there is almost like the shadow on their face. Sometimes it takes form. It really just depends on what's there. But then I believe whoever is in front of me, if they have that, I'm meant to help them in certain kinds of ways or in certain kinds of ways. But I also still have a choice, knowing where I'm at in that day or this place in my life. Everything needs to be considered. You know, like, did I eat enough today? Like, or do I need them to ask them to come back because I only have this much to give with that much we need to fight kind of thing. I've even seen in my space in the air, angels and demons at war. Like, it's fucking insane. I'm like, whoa, this is the paintings I see in fucking churches, you know? And I'm like, oh my God. And where they come from, it's like this tunnel there. And like, I'm like, what? Like, this is insane. Like, who the fuck do I call to just talk about this war in my face, you know? It's rare for you to find those people. But yeah, there's one that it was a nun.
Really?
Like the Nun. Like, you know, the Nun movie?
Not a nun, but the Nun.
You know the movie The Nun?
Yeah. So like not an actual...
Not like a nun?
The low vibrational... yes, I'm like the nun.
The nun. The scary nun was switching in and out of one of my clients' faces.
Oh my God.
But working in the person's body, that body internally was befriending 3 entities. But he was unaware of it, right? A lot of times we're unaware of these demons we're fighting inside, but we want better for ourselves. But then outside, externally, there's a lot of strong choices you need to make for that world inside to change. And as healers, we can't save, we can make space for them to choose, you know? But then even that gets super complex because it's like we could help a lot, but, but really they're the ones really helping themselves. Do
you guys do, or have you ever done Reiki on like children, teenagers?
Yeah,
we have.
How is that? Because, you know, most teenagers, the average teenager, they're not like us. You know, it usually comes later on, and it's like, do they actually believe, or is it something that their parents are pushing them to do?
There's certain kinds of younger children that I've worked on. I mean, my son's a Reiki 1, so I've worked on him a lot. And there's some that they're interested in it. They fall asleep because they don't understand the kind of like the transition from either awake or sleep. They don't know the in-between, hence the meditation state yet. And their body needs to learn, and, you know, comes with having it repetitive times to understand the feeling. And then there's other ones where they have darkness inside of them, and I'm helping the kid because they have all of these diagnoses. And they got to unfold from it. But it's hard for the parent to hear those things. And then there's some that come that are pretty much depressed. And all I can do is translate to the parent how they can support their child a lot of times, you know. But the child, you can't be like, hey, you got to do this. Like, this is your holy prescription, you know.
I know.
It's hard because it's still a part of their journey. So a lot of times it's just helping the parent.
This is so interesting. You know, I got a reading maybe, I want to say the end of September. And it was from a psychic, like a medium. And she told me, she said, you have some attachments to you that you need to let go of. And I said, well, do I take a spiritual bath? She's like, no, I don't know what this person is, but it's a woman and she's like a shaman or something. She's going to help you. And then here we are sitting here today. Whenever you said shaman earlier, I was like, where have I heard that word from? Because we don't use that in our traditions, not very often. And I'm like, I don't know fucking shamans. Like, who am I going to meet? But she didn't have a better word for it. She was just like someone that does something that's like it breaks you loose from attachments. So it's just like full circle. And shout out to Jasmine from Trinity Oracles because she gave me that reading, and it was just very spot on. And I'm like, when? Because I don't want this anymore. And she was like, sometime next year. It's gonna be in the beginning, first quarter. And I'm like, I promise you, I'm gonna text her after this and be like, yes.
Crazy.
Met her too.
Yeah,
Really?
she's
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, so
I love readings.
I love readings too, and it's so crazy because even though I do tarot readings, like I'm not opposed to people reading my energy. I'd rather you see that my intentions are good, than not. So I'm just in awe. Like, you ladies are amazing, and hopefully one day I'll be like, hey, yeah, I'm master and I'm doing this, that, and the third, karate chopping with the hands and everything else. So
And the beautiful thing about
excited.
aura ritual and practice being alive, I always tell people, like, that space is alive on its own. Like, yes, I fund it, I whatever own it, but it's alive on its own, and it teaches me what to do and how to help others. And my intention in the beginning was for people like myself who didn't have a space and want to dive in and practice, have one. So I provide that space to people that have these certain energies that come along with them. It's hard to define what that is. It's just a feeling. We've talked about it a few times before, and it's just this. Everyone there is multidimensional.
yeah,
To some capacity, or they're building up to it, whatever it is. But we're just all coexisting together, and allowing aura ritual and practice is hard to just be, and it's just getting bigger and bigger in like its energy, and it's beautiful.
Do you ever combine tarot and Reiki?
Yeah, I do a lot of combination with cards when I do my psilocybin therapies.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like. I'm already thinking how my practice I want it to look. And when you got plans and then you actually like go through everything and it's like, girl, you're not fucking doing
Yeah.
that.
The cards, they're different, right?
Yeah.
But I also believe we can get to this point where we don't need anything other than just the breath,
you don't.
right?
You don't.
I'm like, I don't
Like
need,
the
I just need the
props.
first letter of your name, and I'm like, oh, that's enough. Like, that's too much info.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
it comes down. It's all in you because even whenever I give tarot readings and like I start like getting into it and I'm here, I'm like, don't tell me nothing, please.
It does for me. It saves
Yeah.
a lot of energy sometimes when I'm like, okay, let's just let it give us the direction rather than me kind of being like,
Right.
I'm like, okay, what's this here? It's like a puzzle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the cards will kind of lay out the foundation, and I'm just kind of like reading and following along with the rest. It all kind of just
Same.
comes into connection.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's kind of, it coexists in the same space. It is different because even like with cards, because like I said, I'm a planner in my head. So I'm like, I'm going to learn Reiki and I'm going to incorporate sounds, cards, and blah, blah. And I'm like, I already know that's not how it's going to come to, like, it's,
You can
God
have the
always
idea,
has right?
And then
like you said earlier, whenever you said you went and got a session done to stop your visions, and then you ended up just accepting, right?
Right.
So it's like you have
Tapping in.
plans, and then your ancestors, spirit guides, be like, "Psych, just fucking do it. You're not doing that." So I can't wait to see how it kind of flourishes and comes to fruition for me.
So before we end this, let's tap in a little bit for the collective because we're
Okay.
all magical here. But let's talk about, she just did a card pull because what was it, yesterday that you told me about it? Yeah, you just got
Yeah,
off
I was on
live.
TikTok live, yeah.
So what did you pull? Because I'm sure it's going to resonate to Noah as well.
Wow.
And the collective.
The first card was Adventure Awaits.
Yes.
It was a New Orleans Oracle deck.
Oh,
So
my gosh,
pretty.
I love
it's so
the New Orleans.
sacred
Yes.
over there. Isn't there a lot of hoodoo over there
Yes.
too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Voodoo.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's a lot out there. It's a very eclectic.
I'd
place.
love to travel there. We should
gosh,
go.
we
We
should
should go. It'd be a trip.
No, like I literally so I went and oh my gosh, when I tell you, you really have to like be spiritually sound. The dead walk amongst the living, and you
Yes.
can feel that energy is very
I
much
bet.
so alive there. I mean, that is the only place in the world that you can go and people have little booths and they're reading your palms. They're throwing
Oh, I
tarot
love
cards.
that.
It's so good. And they've been asking me like, are we going to do a retreat, to New Orleans? And I'm like, maybe.
Confirmation.
Yeah.
Yes. But it also did ring true for me because I am doing a lot of spiritual retreats this year. We're going to
Oh, that's
Bali.
beautiful.
We're going to Costa Rica. So I'm super excited. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
exciting.
Yeah.
So what else did the card say?
So it was that and then body balance. So because of the next
okay.
elevation, you know, again, with the citrus, the hydration, you might feel called. Oh, then you'll see that too. Now
Yeah.
with Reiki 1, you'll probably just start craving different things that you never
Yeah.
craved in your
Yes,
life.
I drunk 64 ounces of water yesterday.
Wow.
And I don't know why.
cleanse.
Like,
She
She only Red
and it's
Bulls.
so
Like, yeah.
sad. And I'm like, it's so funny
Yeah.
because now I'm thirsty and I'm like, I love Red Bulls. Like, Red Bull is life. And I'm like, ugh,
Red Bull
this
is life?
This is nasty.
Oh my
like,
God.
and I'm like looking at it different where I'm not craving it and I want salad and I want greenery. And I'm like, girl, you know you don't eat like that. Like, what is going on? Where's
They're
your
trying to
tacos?
recalibrate you so that you
Yeah.
could hold more space
Yeah.
in the body.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely interested in eating the rainbow now, like trying different things. I got a juicer and I'm like,
Who
I don't
am
know.
I?
Right. I'm like, I've never been this girl. I like it. So yeah.
Yeah, like I have a personal trainer and maybe I'll have him on here one day and he's a vegan bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And it works because he understands how I intuitive eat.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I swear I'm not just like, oh, I want to eat this. I want to
Yeah.
eat that. I mean, sometimes because I'm human, but I'm like, but if my body is telling me to eat this, I kind of need to eat
Yes.
it. Why?
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea, but you
Yes.
don't understand what
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
doing to me.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, but
And
he gets it.
But you get it's like most people, whenever you start doing that, it's your body. Like our bodies will tell
Yeah.
us spiritually what it needs to fuel whatever is trying to pull out of you. And so, balancing is it's tough. It's hard because most days I eat tacos. I love carne asada
I love
tacos.
tacos.
If I have one more taco, I'm gonna turn into a damn taco. Like I eat tacos a lot, but even that is just like, and whenever it starts feeling like a chore to eat,
Yeah, I don't eat red meat because I could see the memory of the animal.
oh, see, oh my god,
That's some other shit, but
I was about
chicken's
to
a
say,
little lighter. Like I
Yeah.
don't see it like that with the chicken.
And see, I don't eat chicken. I don't like chicken.
But with meat, I don't know what it
know.
is.
Weird.
That just started happening at some point in my life. And then I was just like, I saw the pattern again. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's this shit I'm eating.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like sometimes people forget that holds energy. And at the time, like my 15-year-old cousin just went vegan and we were like, what the hell? Like none of us are vegan. And she was just like, why would you want to eat like something that was terrified in its last moment? You know how much energy that hold? I was like, excuse me.
Mic drop.
I'm going to mind my fucking business. I didn't even think of it like that. But just at 15, she could, articulate that. So I don't know, maybe a little vegetarian vegan run, maybe just for a month, maybe 30 days, because I really want to get, this.
Well, when you
right.
get your attunement, treat those 21 days after literally like very disciplined.
Yeah.
Because it matters.
It
It
does.
sets the tone for the rest to follow. But even if you fall off, I mean, okay, so collective message because it's coming in and then we'll hit yours with your
Okay.
magic. So the collective message right now is literally grace.
Yes.
Like grace as fuck because it's speeding up and then it's slowing the fuck down and it's speeding up. Like we're in this interesting time transition energetically where
Yeah.
we're taking 10 steps forward and then next thing it's like, hold up. Let's walk backwards like 5 steps
Yes.
slowly. And then you kind of start to feel that pull back. And then these thoughts will come in as in like, wait, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
But it's creating like this impatience and pressure
Yes.
into where we're going. So hence grace is just our BFF. That's the bitch right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell my clients, give yourself grace. I'm out here telling people to give yourselves grace. And here I am,
Yeah.
like
on
being
yourself.
uber hard and critical of like my own journey whenever my journey's not going to look the same as anybody else's.
Like we're literally new kids coming out of or not even kids. We're that embryo that
Yes.
cracked to that next thing. And
Yeah.
then we've just rebirthed in this energetic way for a lot of us. And the ones that haven't kind of rebirthed in this, I don't know, calibration, because I kind of feel like there's like, here's people going ahead and then there's the ones to follow. And it's just no right or wrong timing of it. It's just some of us are just kind of at this place right now. And we're going to want to learn how to walk like tomorrow.
Yeah.
But then it's like, hold on, like just put on your socks first, like put on your shoes first. It's like slow it down one step at a time.
Yes.
But then knowing that you went from that to this, you're like, oh, excited,
Right.
you
Yes.
know? So,
Yeah.
and then when you realize, okay, put my shoes and my socks and my shoes on, and then you get up and you're like, fuck, I don't know how to walk.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get upset about not knowing how to walk.
Yes.
So literally, Grace will just keep coming up and showing up to teach you patience and to show you how to release pressure in yourself.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I can honestly say like both messages, I'm like, are y'all reading me? Because I can honestly say like everything that you said, me giving myself grace, I'm so like if I miss a deadline or if I don't learn something that I feel like I need to in the time frame, it's like my mind is running at 1,000,000 miles per hour some days. And I have to be like, wait a minute. You have 4 kids, 2 dogs, 3 kittens now, a cat, and
super momming.
Yeah, so I'm like, give yourself grace. You know, it just comes down to spiritual grace as well, not just like, oh, you didn't do this around the house, like actual grace all around.
Yeah, because
So,
also you're going to deplete yourself.
yes, you'll get tired from just being like scatterbrained or worried or like hypocritical or critical of yourself, you know? Because like I said, I give out grace, the word grace in my readings, like Tic Tacs. And I'm like,
What color
it's
Tic
okay.
Tacs?
The green ones.
I like the orange ones.
I love, you know what? That's not a Tic Tac to me, even though it is.
Because
It's
it's
like,
not Mindy.
yeah.
I feel that.
Yes. So,
Okay, we'll close it off with your collective message. Tell us.
So the collective message is to be open to learning new things and realizing that your body is going to tell you things about yourself that you have to be open to receive. Have that high priestess energy, you know that your intuition is never going to steer you wrong.
Yeah.
Use your discernment. And even if it seems like it's going to be a mountain to climb, do that shit. Why not? This is only your life to live, as well as we're just humans living spiritual experience, or other way around. Humans living a spiritual experience or a human experience. I'm sorry.
Yes,
So
I
it's
got it.
like, you know what I meant. So it's like, you know, why not take a Reiki course? If you want to do something, go for it. Because sometimes I think we all get caught up in we are either too old to learn something or too stuck in our ways to learn something. But whenever we walk through that door and be like, you know, I'm willing to learn, we unlock things about ourselves that we didn't even realize we had.
Yeah.
We are the altar. You know, our ancestors will guide us. So that's my collective.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Resonates with me.
Yeah. It's all right. Listen,
Excited for
I'm going to actually like connect with you guys because I am so excited about the classes and everything. Like you said, everything is so basic, but it's nice to just be able to be like, hey, I need help with this, or I don't know how to interpret this. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to have you just in our lives.
Yeah,
I'm glad to have you in
absolutely.
my life. I mean, she could speak on her own.
No, this is great.
No, I knew whenever we all
Love
said
this.
collectively, we should go to New Orleans.
Okay.
I think I just made besties. I'm not sure. you
Yeah,
know?
and we could just protect ourselves through it, you
Right,
know?
Yes, yeah, but
Because it's tough when
Yeah,
you
it
pick up
is.
energies and what that does for you. You know, I'm glad I have her to help me when
Yeah.
I just am fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is, but I'm
Yeah.
just like, I need help, please.
Yes. Yep. And just living in Las Vegas alone is a lot. You know, the spiritual community here, they're in hiding. I don't know where they're at. I've been asking, calling on my spiritual girlies, and it's hard. They're not here. And the ones that are here, they're protecting their energy, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think
So,
you're finding the ones for you,
Yeah.
right?
For sure. I think so too.
Yeah, healers need healers, and I think that's
Yeah.
the difference.
Hello.
That's the difference that I feel. That
Yeah.
I have this like Aura's the home.
Yeah.
This is
Yes.
the fam, and like
Yeah.
if
Well, it
she's
chose
like,
you as much
hey,
as you chose it.
Yeah. And it just feels good to be like, I can say, oh, I need spiritual
Yeah.
cleansing. And they not look at me like,
Mm-hmm.
is there showers? And I'm like, you guys understand. You understand there
Yeah,
are
I
showers.
actually little plot twist on a really deep spiritual side, but on Sunday, my serpent came through and I had to give it a bath because it was slithering through. Yeah, it might
Yeah.
sound a little weird to some of you out there,
Yeah.
but Yeah, I had another serpent that cracked out of its egg, hence another version of a Kundalini awakening. And it was a stronger, bolder, feminine, but masculine, like all of these things combined.
Yeah.
And it asked for a spiritual bath and it told me what to put in it. And I had a hoodoo friend actually who gave me these specific herbs and it was just fucking perfect.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, this. And it was like, yes.
Yeah.
So I took a spiritual bath.
Yeah. It's nice to have friends. That,
I even gave myself a fucking baptism
Right.
at one time and didn't realize. I was like, why am I dipping?
Yes. And it's funny and it's fun to have like other friends that practice outside of what you practice because it's like we know shit that you wouldn't necessarily know. Like if you had a friend that is in Ifa or Santeria, we have our own orishas that help us move our hands as we are conjuring and root working.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, it's nice to hear that your hoodoo friend was like, girl, if you don't put this, and then Spirit was like, yep, that's it. You know, so it's nice to have friends outside of what you're familiar with. You know, I'm very big on learning other practices and getting like spiritual tea from people. Like, you know, it's not just one thing. It's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes, very true. Well, thank you again. Your Reiki journey is going to be fucking beautiful.
Oh, I'm so excited, and I'm just
rocket
honored.
ship emoji.
Yeah, I know. I'm over here like shaking, but I'm like, I'm so ready. Like everything is just making sense. I've gotten readings. If, like you said, I love healers need healers. If you are a healer of mine or a reader, I want you to go get your healing and reading too. So I'm just really grateful that we had this little circle where.
Well, thank you, Austin.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you for setting
for
up.
connecting us. Yes. And to close it out, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. This is beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you for being 31 and being here and being a part of Aura.
Dang. And adventure awaits.
Birthday to ya.
That's beautiful.
All right, we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Perfect.
Wow.